Welcome to Dave Examines Movies and TV, where today I will be examining TV, which really could mean anything. Whether your channel is surfing to kill some time, or if you're looking for an extraordinary project to marathon while you Netflix and chill, I'll be there. Hey, I'm Dave, and I created DaveExaminesMovies.com. I've been reviewing movies for over 10 years, but that's not all I do. I also have a passion for TV, whether that means reviewing them, recapping them, or even podcasting about them. That's why I created Smaller on the Outside, another podcast where I talk about one TV show per podcast season. If you're interested in that type of thing, the new season has just begun, covering the current season of Doctor Who. Meanwhile, this podcast covers a wide variety of TV shows currently airing. I'll tell you what were the best episodes of the week and go over a specific topic every week as we go on a journey to discover the best of TV. Today, we're talking about Netflix's newest controversial hit, 13 Reasons Why, and I'll go on a journey with you to examine the best things about the show and maybe the not-so-great things people have been expressing on their concerns about. Is this actually a great show, or is it potentially dangerous? This is Dave Examines Movies and TV. Hello, welcome back to TV Tuesday on Dave Examines Movies and TV. I've been looking forward to this week specifically because we're going to be talking about 13 Reasons Why, a show that I didn't actually know too much about until it was just about to air. And so I thought I'd give it a try, watch the first episode, and after I saw the first episode, I had to wait to see the other episodes because I wanted my wife to come and watch the show with me, and, you know, she did. So I personally really enjoyed this show, and I also have seen a lot of other people really like it as well. But at the same time, it's getting a lot of controversial hate for some specific things, and I'll get into those in a little bit, but first I'll explain what it is. It takes place in a high school. A girl has just killed herself and has left behind 13 tapes that explain why she did it. And basically every side of the tape is talking about somebody specific that contributed to the reasons why she killed herself. And the show focuses on Clay, who's played by Dylan Minnette, who has just received the tapes. And the tapes basically say, you're on one of the 13 tapes. I won't tell you exactly where. You'll just have to eventually find it. Not only that, but you have to do what I say. You have to follow the rules, or else, because somebody has a copy of the tapes, and if you don't do what I say, I will release this to a source that won't paint you in a good light. So basically, she's making them do these things even after she's dead, because she has some kind of friend that's helping her. Which is a cool concept right off the bat. Very cool, but it's potentially dangerous for a lot of other people if you look at it in the right or wrong light, per se. It depends on who you are. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a list. I wanted to create a list of 13 reasons why you should watch 13 Reasons Why. But you do run out of reasons, and I didn't want to completely ignore the people who hate it for whatever reason. So I put down 10 reasons why you should watch 13 Reasons Why, and 3 potentially reasons why you shouldn't watch it. Potential reasons that make it dangerous or wrong or bad or whatnot. Those reasons. And those I'll get to at the end of everything. But first, I wanted to talk about the best episodes of the week. And this last week, we had some pretty interesting shows. We had the finale of 24 Legacy, which was pretty cool. We also had the second episode of Doctor Who, which is always neat. But for the most part, these episodes were what you'd expect from these shows. The one show that really stood out for me in the week was Netflix's Bill Nye Saves the World. It was just like Bill Nye the Science Guy, made for adults with some more, serious topics that adults can't go by without knowing. And Bill Nye, he's a hilarious guy. He really deserves his own show. He's not the best conversationalist, so his discussion points in the show weren't the best. But it was a very good show, and I did watch the entire show in one day. I really enjoyed it. I'll also mention another show that I watched in 2 days, and that was Netflix's Santa Clarita Diet. Why this doesn't, Santa Clarita Diet didn't air last week, but it is what I watched last week, and I did watch it in 2 days. It's goofy, it's weird, it kind of feels like a comedic Dexter, but instead of murder, it's like zombies. But, it's just goofy, there's a lot of funny moments in it. I don't know what it is. It's the characters, it's the concept, whatever it is. The first thing I thought of when watching it was, this is Netflix's version of iZombie, which I'm not really a big fan of. But I do like Santa Clarita Diet, so if you have Netflix, check that out. That's pretty cool. And now we're going to talk about 13 Reasons Why. Okay, so let's talk about the first of the 13 reasons. One, that it's relevant and important. Okay, this is talking about suicide. And this kind of goes directly in comparison to one of the bad reasons why you should watch it. It depends on the perception of how you see it. I see it as relevant and important. I think they view suicide in such a way that most media, places don't. A lot of places see suicide as, no option, let's not talk about it, let's not give people any ideas, so whatever, while this one kind of takes a deeper look into somebody's mind while they are pondering about suicide and how their mind, whether it's real, factual or not, it's how they see the world. And I feel like that is relevant and important for today's world. It's important for you to understand how suicide works in people if you have never felt suicidal in your life. In my experience, you only understand suicide and what people go through with suicide if you yourself feel suicidal in one, part of your life or not. If you've never felt it, you don't understand them. You want to call them selfish. You want to call them a bunch of stupid things because they're weak or whatnot. I think this kind of clarifies a few things. Number 2, it opens the possibility for difficult discussions. Like I was saying before, people just want to brush suicide under the rug and say, oh, they killed themselves, they died by suicide, and then they say, oh, that's so sad, and then they go on. No one wants to ask why somebody killed themselves because everybody accepts the idea that it's nobody's fault but their own about why you would kill yourself. And I do agree with that. I believe no one's mental problems are anybody's fault but their own. But don't you want to know what's going through somebody's head when they're going to kill themselves? Like, you can at least appreciate it and know it and respect the person about what's going through their head when they're going to kill themselves. Yes, it's mental. Yes, it's their own doing and their own choice. But things happen in these people's lives which brings them up to that mental breakdown. I think it's important to know, at least from a different perspective, how this affects people and what goes through their head. This is like taking it a little far, taking it a little over the top, but at the same time, I still think it's pretty important and relevant to talk about, like I said, which opens up a possibility for difficult discussions. You can't just go up to somebody and be like, I love you, I respect you, please don't kill yourself, please let's talk about it. But you will only have your one-sided thought about suicide until you yourself are suicidal. So I think this is actually pretty good to talk about. So the third point of the reasons I want to talk about, it's in your face, right? This is a show that gets in your face about things and isn't afraid to do that. All of these reasons I want to say are all connected. And this is one of the reasons that's connected. It's in your face, right? It's hard to ignore, which really, really ticks off psychiatrists and doctors and scientists and therapists and things of the nature. It really, really ticks them off because they have gone to school for several years about what suicide is and how to prevent it and everything. But they're also taught that suicide is somebody doing themselves. It's not anybody's fault. Which I don't think it is anybody's fault, but just maybe sometimes the suicide victim feels like it is, and you have to respect that. It's not anybody's fault, but if the suicide victim feels that it is, you have to respect that they feel that way in the first place. And I feel like this is in your face with that concept. So either you like it or you don't, but yeah, you love it or you hate it. It's one of those shows. Next up, it has a great mystery. If you're watching, you can't ignore the fact that there's a mystery involved here, and you do want to see how it ends. You want to see how this mystery happens. So, if you've ever read a mystery or watched a mystery movie or anything, then you know what a good mystery is. It's something that you don't know how it's going to end. You don't know it's predictable. Even though you do know the end here, you know she kills herself. It's the trip. It's how you get there that matters. So this is a good mystery. You can't help but keep watching because you want to know who's going to be on the next tape. That's one of the mini mysteries. Each tape is a mini mystery, and then the show as a whole, how it ends, is the major mystery. All right. So the next reason that I have written down here is that it's the acting, right? The acting's very good from all the characters. So these are actually the next 2 points, I should say. The acting's great and the characters are great, which work together, obviously. Yeah, hold on, buddy. The kid wants some oranges. So, let's talk about the acting and the characters. First thing you need to know is there's a ton of characters in this. Why? Well, you have to have a ton of characters if you're going to blame all of them for your suicide, right? And not everybody's blamed, but quite a few of them are. 13 to be exact. Actually 12. I think one's blamed twice. So, there's a ton of characters, and they're all diverse, and they're all interesting in their own regards. Some are bad, some are good, some you don't, aren't surprised that are blamed for her death. Some you really are, including the main guy from Clay. You have no idea how he's going to be on the tape, because he's like that really sweet guy. He's just nice all the time, and how could he possibly be a part of why somebody killed themselves? Which also brings it back to, it's not anybody's fault, it's her own doing and everything. It does. I'll get into that later because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Next up, it's a Netflix original TV show, which they are notorious for making great shows, doing great things with. I haven't seen a ton of Netflix shows that I wasn't a fan of. I haven't seen them all, granted, but Netflix is right now the premier network for creating TV shows. Hulu's getting there. Some other things are trying to do that, but nobody has quite matched the level of Netflix, and Netflix just keeps growing. That's all they continually do. Nobody can catch up with them because it's Netflix. So Netflix has done great with original TV shows, not so much with original movies, I would say, but more so with original TV shows. So here's a point that for a reason why you should watch it, because it's on Netflix, and Netflix has already created their own reputation. You don't even have to know what the show's about. If you know it's on Netflix, there's a good chance that it's great. But not only that, you've heard it's great, so you should watch it anyways. It's unique and it's original. No, Suicide's not original or unique, but the way that they talk about it on this show, the perspective of it is absolutely unique. Its boldness that I talked about earlier is unique. It's original. This is something I think, like I said, the relevance and the importance is unique and original. How it opens up difficult discussions is unique and original. How it's in your face is original. How the mystery that it holds is original. The characters are unique and original. As far as just being on Netflix, it's unique and original. So this just kind of culminates everything all into one. It is one of the most unique and original Netflix shows that they have out there. Next up, it does open up for a possible sequel. I don't know if they will ever have a sequel because it's so controversial right now. But it does open up a possible sequel into a different possible concept of what's going on. Which I do like. I did like how they set it up for a sequel, but they also set it up for just to think about, because it might not have a sequel. Next up, for the last of the good positive things about it, it's a marathonable show. It's a show, and you watch it, you want to keep watching. You just want to keep watching and watching and watching, see who's on the next tape, see who she talks about next, see what happens next from both the perspective of what's going on in modern time and sinking back into the past to see what happens there, because that is a story as well. Each of these tapes goes in chronological order of what happened in her life that made her so suicidal and made her stuck in her life. So this is a marathonable show, a very entertaining show just in general. That's the 10th reason. Next up, I want to talk about the three things, I think the three main things that people have complained about with the show. First of all, they say it glorifies suicide, which I don't agree with, but it says that it's showing how, people's actions affect others, which is a positive thing, but they also said that it says that it's people's faults that this girl committed suicide. Well, and this is written by, scholarly doctors and therapists and whatnot. They say that it glorifies suicide. But I don't think it does. Just because it's a TV show about suicide where this girl is saying it's all your fault that I killed myself doesn't mean anything. Watch the show. Read between the lines. There is a ton of moments when they made sure that the audience hears this, that it was nobody's fault but her own. Her own actions was to kill herself. They also showed that after she killed herself, that there was a ton of posters on the walls saying how to prevent suicide. Here's the number. Here's the hotline. Blah, 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 blah. And one of the things that the therapists have said is that there wasn't enough prevention stuff going on in the show about suicide. I disagree. Actually, I actually do agree on this. There wasn't enough, but I think that was part of the plot. I think that not enough people considered suicide realistic for their students until it happened, and then they put up all the prevention posters because they didn't want to seem guilty for not having those kind of posters up. So they kind of went overboard and put them all over the school after that point. But I think that was part of the plot, that it needs to be up, that prevention posters need to be up for possible people needing help. Also, one other thing that they say in the show is, this is Hannah's truth. Hannah's the girl that killed herself. This is Hannah's truth. These tapes are Hannah's truth. And that's, I think, a key major point to focus on when you're watching this show. That, and it's nobody's fault for her own, it's her own actions for killing herself. You need to focus on these two things when watching the show to realize something. These tapes are her truth. They are her truth, true and true. And people who actually kill themselves, not these actors and characters on TV shows, people who actually kill themselves, they leave behind notes, and those notes are their truth. These tapes are her truth. And her truth isn't necessarily anybody else's truth but her own, because it's her own actions that kill herself. It's her own choice to kill herself. But the tapes are her truth. I don't know if I'm making any sense to anybody, but for me it makes total sense that the tapes are important to understand and appreciate and respect her for. It is her truth. In reality, the truth is it was her own. So there's basically there's two truths. There's the overall globally accepted universal truth that anybody who kills themselves, it's their own choice. It is nobody else's faults but their own. That is the universal truth that the show definitely has. They also have another truth, that it was Hannah's truth, her own world, which she visualizes, her own universe that she sees, her own global understanding of how the world works is through her own unique vision. That's how she sees the world. That is her truth, and that is why she killed herself. She wasn't seeing the world like everybody else. So I think it's important to show that this show is not glorifying suicide in any which way or shape or whatever. It's what it's glorifying, or I think the better word is exposing. It's exposing the truth that when it comes to suicide, they aren't acting normal. Their mental state is basically seeing a world completely different than what the real world is. And they feel stuck in this fake world of theirs. I think it exposes that. I think it does a good job at explaining to people who are not suicidal what suicidal feels like. That there's two realities and they're stuck in the negative reality. And they just want to get to the real reality where that everybody else sees. That's what they want to see. But they can't get there. So they kill themselves. It's almost impossible to talk about. Like, you have to see the show to understand what I'm talking about. I can only verbally express what I'm saying. There's two realities. One is that suicide's crazy and it's mental and whatever, and one is it's the only way out, and I think the show did a good job at explaining that. I don't know how to say it. It's not glorifying suicide. Also, it shows a graphic representation of suicide. And one of the doctors, the therapist, was saying that this was basically a tutorial about how to end your own life. A graphic tutorial. And I had to comment on this because I'm like, everybody knows how to slit their wrists. You're not fooling anybody. It's not a tutorial. If you want to slit your wrists, you'll slit your wrists. What I think it does instead. Now, this This is a personal opinion, but what I think the suicide scene shows is that it hurts. It physically hurts to kill yourself. Now you could see it in her face when she slits her wrists that this hurts. And not only that after you're dead and everything, the next person who comes in and how they're going to react when they see what you've done. That's what it shows people who are suicidal, that it physically hurts, that's what you have in store if this is how you want to die, and how it's going to affect the next person that comes and finds you like that. That's what I think the graphic suicide scene shows, which I don't think glorifies suicide. I think exposes the reality of suicide for suicidal people, how it's going to affect their loved ones, and how it's going to physically harm you when you actually get down to do it. Are you really willing to hurt that much and have that much blood come out of you? I mean, I know, once again, it's just you have to watch it and watch it with that perspective, that it's not about glorifying suicide, that it's about exposing the harsh realities of suicide for those who aren't suicidal and for those that are. I think it was kind of a masterpiece, brilliant in what it does here. My wife actually had one of the bad reasons here. She said it's not enough good reasons for suicide. Like, the suicide reasons that the whole show is about, they just weren't good enough to kill yourself with. And she didn't see her as a depressed individual. I agree somewhat with this. I don't think the reasons were not good enough. I actually think the reasons were plenty enough. But I do agree that she didn't seem depressed, that she seemed more pissed and angry than anything else. And people don't really kill themselves over that. They kill themselves over depression, they kill themselves over feeling stuck and not being able to do anything, which I feel like the reasons were supposed to build up to. But maybe this is where the acting falters. Maybe she was supposed to act depressed and stuck in her life, but she does act more vengeful and angry than anything else, which wouldn't lead up to suicide, I don't think. I think it would lead up to a suicide for vengeance, to say that I could do it, than anything else, which I think was a bad decision on their parts. I think that was potentially the worst thing that the show did, was have good reasons to kill yourselves from a perspective from a suicidal person. Because when you're talking about suicidal people, I really do believe in their heads they have reasons for what they're doing. And I believe that these reasons are good enough to kill yourself with if you are depressed and feeling stuck. And I think when it comes right down to it, when she's killing herself in that graphic scene, I think she's not acting depressed. She is acting angry, and my wife does have a point there. I wish they did it a little bit differently there. I still think the graphic part of it is exposing the harsh realities to people who are suicidal. But yeah, she should have acted depressed there, and she should have been acting depressed while taping herself talking about the reasons. Have more emotion when she's talking about it, not just, I'm mad at you. You're the reason why I did this. You're the reason why I did this. I like the reasons. I don't really like how she's doing it. I think she's doing it like that more so it's more of an entertainment thing when you're watching, so it's more marathonable, more of a mystery. But it's unrealistic as far as how she's acting emotionally when killing herself, if that makes any sense. Lastly, book lovers won't love the show. This is probably true. It doesn't end like the book. And spoiler alert to anybody who wants to read the book or whatever, but I'm about to spoil the ending for you. So turn away if you want to read the book. In the book, she survives her suicide attempt. I feel like I should read the book now because I wonder how that's going to work with the tapes and what kind of repercussions that means for her character after she fails the attempt to end her life. That's actually interesting to me. But the show, she actually dies. In the book, she doesn't. Now, I think there's a solid reason why she actually dies in the show. And I feel like it's more about that exposing the harsh realities of suicide. I feel like that she used the blades instead of the pills to further expose the harsh realities of suicide and kills herself to show the audience who are suicidal that this is what it's going to be like. This is going to be painful, and it's going to suck for whoever finds you, whether that be family, friends, any kind of loved ones, whatever. Like, it's going to be harsh for them when they find you like that. But also, it's going to physically feel like crap. It's going to be very painful. You're going to get chills. And it's going to be just terrible. Suicide is... They say people who kill themselves are weak. And a lot of the facts about blaming others does make people weak. But actually performing the act of suicide does take a bit of bravery, they say, because it is hard to kill yourself. It hurts physically, and it's scary to think about death, even though this is your only way out. So I think that Netflix was more focused on exposing realities for people who aren't suicidal, exposing realities for those who are. So if you see it the wrong way, or you have the wrong perspective when you're watching the show, it'll feel like it's glorifying suicide. So I feel like you really have to look at it closely and basically research what it's trying to say. Really think about its message to people. What is it? What's it trying to tell you? What's it really saying? Is it glorifying suicide, or is it telling people who are suicidal that this is gonna suck for you? There are better ways out of it. There are people who care about you. If you do end up killing yourself, look how painful it's going to be for you. Look how painful it's going to be for anybody who finds you. And then it talks to people who aren't suicidal, who don't understand suicidal, who think you're selfish and all this. It explains to them how those people feel in the moment, which is equally as important to both sides. I think it's brilliant. Personally, I think 13 Reasons Why is a brilliant show that should be seen from a different perspective. If you are a therapist or some kind of scientist, personally, I feel like your job does a good job at stopping people from killing each other. Or not killing each other, it's not homicide. I think you do a good job at stopping people from killing themselves. I think prevention is one of your best specialties, and you're really good at it. But I think that you're too focused on your profession, and you forget that these people are people too, and these reasons why they kill themselves are their truths, and their truths are every bit as true for them as your truths are to you, that suicide is not that option. So, as hard as it is for me to put this out in words, because I know I sound like a babbling buffoon, but it is just what it is. There is two realities. There's a reality that makes sense to you. There's a reality that makes sense to them. This show just tries its hardest to bring together these two realities to make sense and make a viable option for people to watch to understand each other. I don't know if it's going to work or not, because it's already stirring controversy and everything, but it is a loved show. People do love it a lot. It's rated 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Let's see if Rotten Tomatoes has rated it. Rotten Tomatoes on 13 Reasons Why. Let's see if they give it a rating. 91%. So people do really enjoy the show. It's definitely an entertaining, marathonable show, but people do worry about that and think it's potentially dangerous for people who are actually suicidal. But I don't think it is. I think this speaks to them in volumes about, okay, finally we have a show that understands me and doesn't say suicide's not the option, blah, blah, blah. They understand me. And then at the end, they're like, oh, this actually sucks. If I actually go through with my suicidal intentions, it's gonna, oh my God, like, maybe I don't want to do this because this is what's gonna happen. This is how I'm going to affect others by doing it. This is how it's going to physically injure me. I think it's all very important. I don't think it glorifies it. And I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's a great show. If you have Netflix, check it out. Marathon it. Do whatever you got to do because this is a good show. And I think it's important. It's relevant. There's good acting. There's good mystery. Good characters. Good suspense. And yeah, I mean, it raises questions. It raises discussion. But in the end, I think it's all worth it. And I think that missing out on the show would be tragic, almost criminal. You have to see the show. Come up with your own, and tell me what you think of the show, what you think it's trying to expose, what it's trying to do. I'd like to hear what you think of it. You can reach me at dave@daveexamensmovies.com if you want to answer any of those questions. If you have any suggestions of what kind of TV shows I should watch, any kind of movies I should review on my other days. I'm on Twitter at IAMDWG. Also on Track TV, IAMDWG. You can track what I'm watching with me. I can see what you're watching. You can see what I'm watching. And we can talk to each other and everything, which is awesome. I'm everywhere. Facebook. My website's daveexamensmovies.com. And I'm on every podcast service provider out there. So like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm going to be reviewing, I think it's Gladiator. Let me check. Yep, Gladiator. Tomorrow we'll be reviewing the big smash hit Gladiator with Russell Crowe. So I'll see you tomorrow, and thanks for listening.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us. We think you're pretty slick. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.